Wheel throwing pottery begins with centering the clay. To center the clay, I press it down onto the center of the wheel head. Then, with a bit of water and using the turning motion of the wheel, my hands push the clay into the perfect middle of the wheel. There's a process of squeezing and coning the clay up. Then I push it back down, all with the goal of getting the clay evenly and perfectly centered. It sounds simple, but it's a little more complicated than this. In many ways, the process of centering clay on the wheel relates to the human experience of finding your center. It takes work and practice, and sometimes years to master. Being able to easily find your center sounds simple, but it's a little more complicated. What does it mean, anyways, finding your center? Your center is your core, your true self. Finding your center, or being centered, means letting all the miscellaneous chatter and activities of life dissipate and letting your true self emerge through the stillness. Just like clay particles in the beginning, our minds are a jumbly mess, flitting from thought to thought, charging from idea to concept to tangible reality, drifting from memory to future plan. Our minds are quickly moving machines designed to operate at high capacity. But we are not machines ourselves. We are not our minds. Becoming centered is to calm your emotions, quiet your mind, slow your breathing and your heart rate, soften your body, and let all of you, every little bit of you, relax into the flow of your core. Some meditation practices talk about connecting to your vibration of being, but for me, it feels more like a gently flowing river rather than a vibration. Centering clay is important because if all the clay isn't centered, when I open the pot and pull the walls, they will wobble and eventually collapse. Basically, if the foundation isn't solid, the structure comes tumbling down under pressure. Centering is about finding that balance in the clay, in your life, in your heart and body, your mind and soul. The balance between enthalpy and entropy, the balance between the natural chaos and the natural order of the universe. I believe the potential for centering exists in all things, from the clay in my hands to the thoughts in my mind. When clay is on a wheel and spinning, with a little water, you have the ability to move and manipulate the clay. When your mind is open and with a little training, you have the ability to mold it. The clay, like your mind, will go where there is the least amount of resistance. What does that mean? Well, if you block off all areas for the clay to go with your hands and the wheel, squeezing the base of the clay all the way around the lump, The clay has nowhere to go but up. In order to center the clay on the wheel, I tap into my core strength. I rest my elbows on my legs and I hold my arms really close to my middle to give my arms and hands all the strength from my entire body. I tighten my stomach muscles. I lean in over the clay and I tell myself, I am a rock. I am the rock. The clay is just a river in my hands. There's a beautiful relationship and many similarities between centering clay and centering oneself. In many ways, a meditation practice is like studying wheel-throwing pottery. Meditation is hard, but it gets easier with time. It takes practice. Just like learning pottery, nothing great happens overnight. It takes time. The principle of least resistance is also used when shaping a pot and pulling walls. It's the overall theme of how to throw a pot on the wheel, really. If you're ever struggling with the clay not going where you want it to, take a moment and look at all the places your clay is touching something that is providing resistance. You may be able to work out how to get it moving in the direction you want just by changing your hand position. Just like centering yourself. If you're struggling, maybe try changing your position. The position of your mind, your opinion, your feelings, or even your body. Small adjustments can yield many good changes that lead to results. In the beginning, everyone struggles with centering clay on the wheel. Just as everyone struggles to find their centers and quiet and calm their minds. It's natural to want to give up or to try something else. But centering the clay is critical. I've learned this as a potter. Without centered clay, I am not able to make any pottery on the wheel. The successful centering provides a base for the clay so I can build it into the form I want. I am the naked potter.